Hi, everyone. This is Calvin with rightthinking.com. So thanks for being here today. Today is August 17th, uh, 2026. So thanks for being here. Just want to talk to you today a little bit about Western independence, the WEXIT movement. And in today's episode, I will be sharing with you that I have an opinion about Western independence that is or will certainly probably be not a very popular one within the people who advocate for independence and secession. So again, my name is Calvin and I am a supporter of Western secession. I'm born and raised in the province of British Columbia. I'm an Okanagan boy, and so I grew up with a lot of hardworking redneck orchardists around me and farmers, and we just wanted to be left alone and everything. We were getting some pressure from Ottawa growing up and stuff, and even in the history of BC, a lot of people don't know that British Columbia has already voted to leave the Dominion of Canada. They did so on August 30th, 1878. I've looked it up. I have the record from the Hansard, which is the official publication of the British Columbia legislature. And it is recorded in there that the legislature voted after third reading to leave the Dominion of Canada, and they sent a delegation to Victoria with the petition, and they were hoping to have it signed by Queen Victoria that she would agree that British Columbia could leave Canada. But unfortunately, she didn't receive the audience, and so the petition went nowhere. Soon after they got back, the issue was about the railway, and soon after that, in a couple of years, the railway was finally completed, and then the movement kind of died down. But nonetheless, in modern times, Ottawa has certainly done other things to aggravate the West. It's not only Alberta. But I want to tell you about my unpopular opinion, and then I have three reasons for it. So my unpopular opinion about Wexit and the West leaving Canada, including my home province of British Columbia, is that if we do so, I think that we in the new country should retain our constitutional and legal connection to the crown. We should remain a constitutional monarchy, which is what I'm advocating for. And I have three reasons why that's the case. Hear me out first, and then for sure in the comments, write whatever you'd like about it, if you agree or disagree and why, and things like that. I always welcome feedback. I will respond to you as long as you're not mean and unkind, or if all you have is insults, then I definitely will not respond to you. But reasonable conversation I love. Okay. So the first reason that I have for why the new country of Western Canada, whatever it's called, Westlandia, Westland, I don't know. We haven't really thought that far yet, but that new country should retain constitutional monarchy. And the first reason why is I think it'll make the transition a lot easier. So that's number one. Okay. Think about it. Right now we're in Canada, and all the land that the government owns in trust for the king is called crown land. So if we switch over to a republic, then there's going to be some sort of extra legal hurdles that we may have to jump over and everything. But if we remain a constitutional monarchy, then it's a lot easier. So those crown lands that were once crown lands held by Canada in right of the king, now they'll be crown lands that are held for the king by the new country, whatever the name is, right? So it just makes the transition a lot easier. What about our soldiers and our public servants that have sworn an oath, or our new citizens that have sworn an oath to the king? We don't have to worry about them taking new oaths of office or anything like that, right? Because it wouldn't change if instead of, I mean, I don't know if you've ever read the loyalty oath, the oath of office, but it's to the monarch. It's not to Canada. We just promise in the oath to obey the laws of Canada, but we don't pledge allegiance to Canada. A lot of lefties out there like to call people like me who advocate for secession, they like to say that we're traitors and things like that, and we don't love Canada or whatever. And we may not love everything about the modern day Canada for sure, perhaps more so when we were younger. But to say that we're traitor, I don't think you really understand what that word means or what the oath is, anyhow, because in the oath it is pledging a loyalty to the king, not to Canada. So if anything, we're probably more loyal than the lefties out there who are trying to undercut the sovereigntist movement, because I at least I can speak for myself. I can pledge allegiance to the king and still support uh, Western independence at the same time. And I will also add too that for me, I recognize that this is not a very popular opinion. So if in the end the West does become a republic, I will be fine to live in the West, even if it's a republic. I'm just saying that we might get there quicker and easier if we consider some of the things that I'm advocating for. So yeah, it makes it easier, right? Crown lands are more easily transferred. Oath of allegiances, we don't have to worry about. Small changes are easier for people to digest than larger ones, wholesale ones, right? People like their comfort and they don't like to be moved one way or the other too much, right? I mean, look at any of the revolutions from history, and you can see sort of that pattern emerging, right? In 1776, with the Americans, 20% of the population roughly was for independence, and another 20% were dead against independence. So it became the loyalists. And then there was that big part in the middle, the 60% that didn't really care too much either way. So how are we going to win over that mushy middle, our 60%, in making the West independence? Well, we can make it easier when people don't have to make as big of a choice as they might otherwise have to do, because becoming independent and staying a constitutional monarchy is less movement than becoming independent and becoming a republic, right? So it's just something to consider. Of course, I would still want to have a new constitution with the new country and everything, but nonetheless, just keeping it connected to the crown, I think will make the transition easier. So that way we can win over that reluctant group of people that is in the middle, win them over, and that's what we need, right? We're going to need at least 50% plus one to win. So, okay, another thing I'll point out. So reason number 2 is that the problems that have caused us to have this conversation about Wexit and leaving Canada are not problems that were caused by the monarchy, right? I mean, may have signed bills into law, sure, but that's their job, right? The royal assent process, they do that for any law that there is, whether it's by a conservative or liberal government or a green government, whether it's good or bad, they do those things. So but the problem isn't that the crown gives royal assent to those laws. The problem is that the governments that are behind it are making bad laws that have led to Western alienation and has become an irritant for many. And this is why we have the conversation about secession and leaving Canada. So I'm telling you that um, pinning it on the crown and saying that we have to become a republic because that's the only way that we'll be free, I don't think is very valid, because all the things that have brought us to this point are not things that have been caused by the crown. They've been things that have been caused by a succession of bad governments that hate the West. So, okay. So just consider that. And then the last thing that I'll say is that there are actually some benefits to being in a constitutional monarchy. I don't know if you've ever heard of James II. He was called the Patriot King. He led a movement that was called the Glorious Revolution. Um, so those were pretty good things. I mean, if you're Catholic, maybe less so for sure. But my point is that we have had monarchs through the ages which have stood up for people's rights and freedoms. And so there is benefit to it. A couple of days ago, I did a video about constitutional monarchy. Let's talk about it. And in that video, I talk about how the crown actually protects us from the excesses of the elected government. So maybe go back and watch that video. I'll link it to at the end of this video for sure. But my third argument is that there are benefits for us being connected to the crown and remaining a constitutional monarchy. So yeah, just consider that. I also did a video about 10 days ago about reasons for WEXIT. That might be a good one for you to get a clue as to what are the irritants that cause Westerners to have issues like this. But hey, I'll go back and read those things and let me know what you think. And I'd be happy to hear your feedback on them. And we will talk to you again next time. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.